for his 5 minutes of questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You know, I used to drive 65,000 miles a year in my truck. And like Mr. Graham, I used to listen to NPR a good bit. In fact, I enjoyed All Things Considered. But unfortunately, all things aren't considered now. The ranking member of the subcommittee used the words objective reporting, but there's nothing objective about NPR now. If it was truly objective, we wouldn't even be here today. But we do have a responsibility to conduct oversight on how U.S. tax dollars are spent by government agencies, regardless what the agency is. And I really do wish that NPR's new left-wing CEO would have had the fortitude to show up today, but no such luck, I guess. If Ms. Mara were here, I could ask about why NPR reported Monday that TikTok isn't really the threat that this committee knows that it is, which is why we recently passed the divestment bill. Forbes got that story right, since it was their own journalist that discovered TikTok was spying on them, while NPR's reporting says there's no evidence of TikTok's espionage activities. Forbes journalists didn't need federal subsidies to get their reporting right. What NPR has evolved into, as evidenced by Mr. Graham's written testimony, is a Democrat propaganda machine funded by U.S. tax dollars. And that's wrong. If Ms. Mara were here, I could ask about why NPR never fired the NPR commentator who in 1995 described the potential rapture disappearance of millions of Christians as, quote, leaving the world a better place. If Ms. Mara were here, I could ask her why her network chose to promote abortions in America by broadcasting one in 2022. If Ms. Mara were here, I could ask why we need taxpayer-funded media outlet at all, since there is a plethora of available sources that can provide journalism without government subsidies. I could ask her why great radio stations like WRD in South Carolina need government-subsidized competition. But Ms. Mara decided to duck this hearing. So instead, I'll simply discuss H.R. 1632, Ronnie Jackson's bill to end government funding of NPR and the parent corporation for public broadcasting, of which I'm a proud co-sponsor, or H.R. 8083 from the next senator of Indiana, Jim Banks, and congratulations, Jim, for his great win last night, another bill to prohibit funding for NPR. And I'm a proud co-sponsor of that one too, or H.R. 8091 to prevent government funding for NPR or any other radio content from my friend, Chair of the House Freedom Caucus, Bob Good of Virginia. I'm a co-sponsor of that one too. We shouldn't be funding a propaganda machine, which is what NPR has evolved into. The Constitution lays out 17 enumerated powers for this government. Providing state media isn't one of them. NPR and PBS have become American Pravda, a reliable mouthpiece for the liberal bureaucracy and their left-wing enablers. It's time to restore some sanity to this government by eliminating NPR's federal boondoggle. If the public wishes to support so-called public broadcasting, they can still choose to send their own hard-earned money rather than have us tax them to do it. I hope this committee will look at ending NPR and CPB, and that our friends on the Appropriations Committee will stop cutting them checks. Just a couple examples. They didn't want to report on the Hunter Biden laptop story. In fact, they tried to poo-poo that and say it was Russian propaganda, and we now know that was all reported by this propaganda machine to influence an election. NPR should not be there to influence elections in this country. NPR should be there to inform the general public on the threats to Americans' liberty and freedom, true reporting on storms that are going on, emergency broadcast, information that the public needs, not that NPR wants them to hear or see. That's not the role. And so, Mr. Chairman, thanks for holding this valuable hearing. And I look forward to the work this Congress should be doing on this important issue. With that, I yield back.